If you're over 40 and you're feeling like your life hasn't turned out quite as well as you expected it to be, this video is for you. Maybe you're stuck in a career you don't really like. Maybe you've gained 20, 30, or even 50 pounds over the last decade. Or maybe you just don't have the energy and the vitality that you used to have. And when you look ahead 30 to 40 years, if you're being honest, you're a little pessimistic about what's ahead. Well, here's the good news. No matter what your specific struggle is, the way out is the same. And it's not some hack. It's not some 30-day challenge. It's not simply a matter of being more motivated. The answer to living a better life is to build better habits. Here's the harsh reality for guys over 40. The habits that kind of worked in your 20s and 30s are now working against you. Back then, you could eat whatever you wanted, pull all-nighters, go out drinking on the weekends, and bounce back with a decent night of sleep. Now, your body has changed. Metabolism naturally declines as we age, largely because we lose muscle and our cells become less efficient, which means the same eating and activity that kept us fine at 25 quietly adds fat and fatigue at 40 and beyond. Testosterone and other hormones that drive energy and recovery also tend to dip with age. And if work stress and poor sleep get layered on top, you end up with that constant low-grade exhaustion that never really goes away. So it's not that you're weak or lazy, it's that your life is now built on a set of habits that your 40-plus body simply can't handle anymore. I know this trap quite well because when I turned 40, things just sort of shifted. I really just didn't feel as good anymore, my energy was low, and I really just wasn't as engaged with life as I used to be. Maintaining my weight was much harder, and losing weight felt practically impossible. Then about a year ago, everything changed again. But this time, much more drastically. I got really sick. I spent 9 miserable nights in the hospital before they finally diagnosed me with a rare autoimmune disease called vasculitis that was attacking my kidneys. Thankfully, I'm in remission now, but when I asked my doctors why it happened, they basically shrugged and said, "We don't know." That answer was quite scary. With no clear guidance on how to prevent a relapse, I realized I couldn't just drift through life on autopilot anymore. My thought was simple. If my overall body was healthier, then my odds of preventing a relapse had to be better, even if nobody could actually give me a guarantee. That moment triggered a cascade of changes. Over the last year, I've lost 35 pounds. I feel better than I have in decades. My relationship with my wife is stronger, and I'm way more present with my kids. But the key idea of this video is that none of that came from some massive life overhaul. At the root, it came from slow, consistent, but meaningful progress stacked up over time. When I started, I had just crossed into the obese category by BMI standards at 206 pounds. My target was 168 pounds, the very top of the normal range for my height. BMI isn't perfect, especially for very muscular people, but I wasn't a bodybuilder. For me, getting back near that normal range felt like a reasonable proxy for a healthy body. So I gave myself a year. That meant losing around 0.7 pounds per week on average. In my head, I aimed for about a pound a week, but I built in room for real life. Indiscretions, plateaus, weeks where things just didn't go to plan. Perfection wasn't the goal. Getting back on track when I fell off was the key. When I hit the 1 year mark, I hadn't lost 38 pounds. I had actually only lost 35 pounds. On paper, I was just short of my goal. But standing there in a body that was 35 pounds lighter, with way more energy and a happier home life, it felt like a massive win. And the best part, because I did it in a sustainable way, I have lots of momentum going into year 2. This isn't a diet that I'm just going to get off. I need to live this way for the rest of my life if I want to stay healthy and be able to show up for the people that I love. So what did this look like in the real world? First, I started very small. I changed my diet and I walked. That's it. No heroic workout plan, no 5 a.m. ice baths, no New Year, New Me overhaul. I knew from my past experience that trying to fix my diet, start endurance training, hit the weights hard, and do mobility work all at once was a recipe for burnout. In the past, I'd white knuckle a perfect week, then crash and revert back to old habits. This time I did the opposite. I picked one thing, got consistent with it, and only then added the next piece. Diet first, then regular walking. Only after those felt automatic did I start layering in strength training and mobility work. There's a story in James Clear's Atomic Habits that captures this perfectly. It's about a guy named Mitch who wanted to lose weight and get healthy, so he decided to go to the gym every day. But here's the twist. He only allowed himself to stay for 5 minutes max, and then he had to leave. It wasn't until about 6 weeks later, when the habit became consistent, that he allowed himself to do more. Fast forward, and Mitch is now over 100 pounds lighter, thanks to that tiny habit plus changes to his diet and lifestyle. And that's the power of small, consistent habits. They feel almost too small in the moment, and then they quietly change your entire life. So if you're a guy over 40, feeling stuck, low energy, and worried about your future, here's what this all means for you. You don't need some dramatic transformation this month. What you need is a 1-year vision and a ridiculously small starting point. Pick one habit that your future healthier self would do. Make it so small you'd feel silly saying no. 5 minutes of walking after dinner, one healthy swap in your daily meals, a strict I show up to the gym even if I leave after 5 minutes rule. Then give yourself a year. Not a perfect year, a human year. Fall off, get back on, keep stacking those tiny wins. Because if a 40-something-year-old dad can go from hospital bed with an autoimmune disease to dropping 35 pounds and rebuilding his life with tiny habits, you can too. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more. Also, drop a comment. I'd love to hear your experience.